AITA for not giving my brother and wife the bigger room. My brother's wife lost her job, which has caused them to lose the house they were renting. My brother asked if he could stay with me. I talked to my BF and he said sure. So, I told my brother yes, but he can't bring any of their furniture with them. We don't have any room for any of it. Our spare room has a bed and dressers in it already. He'll have to find a place to store their things. He wasn't happy about it, but said okay, and that was that. When they started moving their clothes and whatnot in, they started complaining about how small the room was. I ignored it, because they were used to a rather large house. And I was sympathetic, because I know how it feels to go from having everything to nothing. I apologized and told them that this was the best we had. Issue: my son was in his room, and started crying. I went in there to check on him, and my brother got mad. I usually keep his door closed when he's napping. I have a baby monitor, and I guess my brother saw how large his room is. It's not big at all, by any means. It's just bigger than the spare room. He asked why the hell we gave him the small room when we can just move our son into the spare room. I told him I'm not moving my son and all his things into a different room when the spare bedroom is perfectly fine for the two of them, as long as they don't try to move their entire house into one room. He got mad. She got mad. They threw a fit. Then my brother asked why we don't move my son into our room. I told him that my son's crib won't fit in our room. And again, I'm not moving him just to accommodate them. The last couple of weeks have been very tense. Small comments here, cold shoulder there, petty shoulder checks from his wife that we cross close together. I've kept my mouth shut, because I love my brother, and I don't want to cause trouble. Plus, if they weren't so pissy, I guess is the word, they wouldn't be hard to live with. They've started to complain that my son's crying at night is keeping them awake. Which, I get, but he's a baby. He only wakes once a night to eat, and that's not even all the time. This morning it all came to a head when my brother told me I should move into the spare room and let them have mine and my boyfriend's room so that they don't get woke up by the baby. When I told him no, he started yelling, calling me selfish and entitled, told me that I should let them have my room, because my son is an annoying little shit that keeps them up every night. All night, where I may be the asshole. I saw red. Let me start this by saying I did not yell at my brother as he yelled at me. I said, if you can't appreciate the room you were given, you can go elsewhere. My boyfriend and I have been more than accommodating to you. You constantly complain. You're ungrateful and rude. Get over yourself or get out of my house. ETA. I'm asking if I'm ta because my mother called and told me I'm an asshole for not giving the married couple the big bedroom with the connected bathroom. And apparently my other siblings agree. ETA 2. They do not pay rent. My boyfriend and I own our home and don't pay anything on it. They pay the difference on the electricity bill and buy some of their own groceries. I do the majority of the cooking and all the cleaning. ETA 3. Boyfriend and I are going to talk about kicking them out tonight when he gets off work. Calling me selfish and entitled, told me that I should let them have my room, because my son is an annoying little shit that keeps them up every night. All night. That is some goddamn nerve right there to call you entitled and insult your infant son when you are giving them a place to live and accommodating their whiny, entitled asses. NTA. I wouldn't even call you an asshole if you told them to be out by the end of the month. NTA. Your brother called your son a literal baby, an annoying shit. Girl, you need to evict him and his wife yesterday. He does not get to cause an inconvenience in your home to your family. Insult your child, and make sleeping arrangement demands because he's bitter he has a smaller room than he wanted. NTA at all. If you can't appreciate the room you were given, you can go elsewhere. My boyfriend and I have been more than accommodating to you. You constantly complain. You're ungrateful and rude. Get over yourself or get out of my house. You're a lot nicer than I am. I would have added a few choice 4-letter words and/or kicked them out on the spot. You're doing them a favor and they're coming across as entitled sheets. Edit after update 1, 2, and 3. Time for your entitled brother and sil to hit the pavement. Since the rest of your family is so up in arms about the situation, ask them who the next volunteer to take them in is. Edit a word so my post doesn't get removed. Oh, absolutely. NTA. Shoulder checks as in she physically hits your shoulder with her shoulder. That would have been enough for me to kick them out. How can they be so entitled? I'm glad you stood up for yourself and family. I think it's time they leave for good. NTA. Beggars can't be choosers and I wonder how big the rooms are under the bridge. He's the entitled one and I would say you won't entertain any conversion about that topic anymore. And that they should look into living elsewhere. Please update that you kicked their ungrateful asses out of your house. NTA. Ah, the hypocrisy. You're entitled to your own things that you pay for in your own house. The entitled label was misapplied in this story. It is because you love your brother that you should ask him to move on ASAP. Living together is gonna destroy your relationship. He and his wife haven't accepted their position, and are trying to usurp yours. In your shoes I'd tell him that I love him with all my heart, but that I'm worried that living together a moment longer will destroy too many relationships. Uncle, nephew, Bill, etc. The way he spoke about your son, his nephew, is heartbreaking. NTA. But you are entitled. Entitled to decide what room you donate to your brother. Entitled to decide what room your baby sleeps in. Entitled to safety of your person, and how you want to be respected in your own home. And entitled to tell them to shut up or ship out. But you should sit them down tonight. Explain that you understand their position. Obviously things aren't working out, and you are sad that you couldn't make it work. You are sorry that things got heated, so you are giving them written notice to move for the end of November. You can't have the stress and tension, the horrible things they say about your child, and the assaults by your sil. In the meantime, if they find something sooner, you'll return this month's rent. NTA at all. They are in your home. You are doing them a favor. People who are being done a favor should say thank you and let it be it. They could be out on the streets or in a homeless shelter. Really, your brother and his wife need to get over themselves and work on their gratitude. NTA. You and your BF were gracious to them and they basically spat on you. And who shoulder checks a family member? Heck no, girl. NTA. Your brother and his wife are guests in your house. They should be grateful that you gave them a place to stay. They are ungrateful for wanting to take your son or even your room, and as for they crying, if they don't want to be woken up by it, they can get earplugs or move out and get a place of their own. So your brother insults your child and his wife physically assaults you. Shoulder checks. And this is your response? You're either stupid or patient. But NTA either way. NTA. Your brother and his wife are entitled. You are helping them through a tough time and being very generous about it. Next thing you know, they'll tell you that they need all 3 rooms and that you should find somewhere else to live, while still paying for their place. Time to give them notice. NTA. You should have told him to suck it up as soon as he complained your child had a bigger room in his own house. You should have thrown them both out when the shoulder checks started. That's fucking abuse. You should have thrown them out when they complained about your child living his little baby life in his own home and calling them names. Tell them to GTFO. NTA. Like you said, if they don't like it they can go somewhere else. It's incredibly ungrateful of them and inconsiderate. They ought to be lucky they don't have to experience the toil of having to secure a homeless shelter room day in and day out. NTA. Not only are you helping them, but they'd have the nerve to be ungrateful and think you should basically rearrange your home for them. Between the shoulder checks, the attitude, and then finally demanding your room, you have nothing to consider yourself in the situation. They have decided they should be entitled to upset your home that opened to them so they wouldn't be on the street, and that's how they decide to repay you. They want to play a stupid game. Show them their prize of getting kicked to the curb and figuring out what to do. NTA. This is your house. You're literally doing them a favor and they complain about it? Beggars can't be choosers. Why do you even need to ask this? What the fuck? Up. Of course, NTA. I wouldn't even give them a chance to correct themselves at this point. I would just give them a 30-day notice. Any extended family members that give you a hard time, tell them I offered a free place to stay and was met with passive-aggressive disrespect. Are you volunteering to host them next? Quote. NTA at all. I'd have lost my shit a lot earlier, and I'm a non-confrontational person. Seriously, you took them into your house and gave them a room. That wasn't enough. They were annoyed that your son had a bigger room when it's actually his house, not theirs. Then they complain that your son, who is both a baby and lives there, is making too much noise. Then they demand you, the house owner, swaps with them. Then they insult your son. They sound so entitled. If it wasn't your reality, it would be comical. Who can be so self-important that they think the world should revolve around them? I'm surprised your boyfriend hasn't told him to fuck the fuck off. Don't give him an ultimatum, just tell him he's got to go. Tell him and his wife that you're not interested in their self-entitlement. How much rent do they pay? By the way, more than you do. NTA. Good for you standing up for yourself. Sounds like it should have happened ages ago. This is your house. They are guests, and apparently not very good ones.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.